Hey guys, welcome back to My Imperfect Pursuit. This is episode 62, Be a Valley Girl. All right. I know the title's kind of silly, so bear with me. And those of you who are 80s kids might think it's kind of funny and be like, Be a Valley Girl. Because if you're not an 80s kid, if you didn't grow up through the 80s, I'm not talking if you were born in 1988. I'm talking like you were born late 70s, early 80s. Essentially, if you're a Gen Xer, you might know what a Valley Girl is in that reference, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm not talking about speaking a certain way or sounding a certain way. And if you're listening to me and you're like, I have no clue what she's talking about, Google Valley Girls of the 80s and you'll probably come up with something. I think there was a movie. So I don't know what the movie was about, but I swear there was a movie. I've never seen it. So if it leads you to the movie and the movie's awful or kind of questionable, that I'm not promoting that. Okay. But it's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute since I have recorded a podcast and I'm excited to be back. I've had some ideas rolling around in my head. There's just sometimes you just need to take a pause from things. And I listened and I took a pause. I had no idea if I was going to be coming back to say anything. There's just been a lot that has happened in the Irvin household. A lot of it's good. And then some of it's just been hard choices, but still good things. Okay. So one of the first things that I'd like to announce is the fact that I am going to be stepping back into education. It is not something that I thought was going to happen, but it's just the way things happened, just the way that life has been. It was kind of needed for us, but I will tell you, I see God's hand in all of it. I prayed long and hard about it. I have complete peace with going back. I've had a lot of people coach me through it. And really great questions. I've had a lot of people say, like, are you sure this is going back? This is what you want to do. You're not rushing into it. And you know what? You absolutely need people to ask you those questions and not take offense to it because I know that they were coming from a very good place in their heart. Like, is this like, are you panicking and trying to find a job? I mean, they didn't know my situation or anything, but they were just wanting to ask some questions. And these people were coaches too. So it was really great to have people reach out once they found out I was stepping back in education. For those of you, if you're listening to me for the first time, so my story is, or part of my story is I was in education for 20 years and I felt a calling upon my life to become a Christian life coach for women. I am a certified Christian life coach for women, and I've been coaching women for over 2 years, one on one coaching. And then I did some group coaching starting in January, and it's all been wonderful. And I have learned so much from it. I've put myself in rooms with people who have achieved dreams that are in my heart that I can see this can be done. I have learned, I'm gleaned so much wisdom from these incredible individuals, and it has led me on paths that I never saw myself going down. And it has been an absolute blast. There's been some tears along the way because when you're building a dream and you're pursuing something, especially if it's a calling on your life that you feel like is from God, it's not going to be easy. He never says, hey, you know what, follow me, it's going to be easy. It's actually, it can be quite the opposite, right? But just the timing of everything, the way things worked out for me to step back in education, it happened so fast. And I did, like I said, I prayed long and hard about it. I felt peace about it. And then I had an opportunity just kind of come open in front of me. And it happened so quickly. And I felt such good peace about it. I see God's hand in all of it. So, I'm stepping back for, I mean, not just financial reasons, but I'm also stepping back. I feel like there's more to it. There's an undercurrent there that I know there's something that he's doing. And I'm trusting that he's like, I need you here. I need you in this, maybe this school, this place. I don't even know, but I'm going back. So that's one of the big announcements. That's one of the big changes. And that's just recently happened within the last few weeks. Me on the podcast, just kind of taking a break, just kind of needing to fill myself up more. Sometimes as life coaches, we fill other people's cups up, right? It's kind of like the mom thing. Moms go around and filling other people's cups up, and they say, but you better fill your own cup up or you're going to be empty. Coaching is a lot like that too. I think anybody in any type of ministry probably feels that way. And you do have to have times to kind of recharge and reset yourself. So I just needed to take that time. It wasn't really like I'm going to take all this time off. It just kind of organically happened. And I just felt that pull to step away for a bit. But I've had this podcast episode in my brain for quite some time. And I feel like God needed me to just kind of recharge and restore to be able to deliver it. And I had no idea when I came back, I would be stepping back in education. So you might be wondering, are you still coaching? Coaching's going to be on pause just for a short time until I figure out a better rhythm for it. Reason being, I have 3 kids, guys. Two of those 3 kids are boys, 2 boys and a girl, and both boys are involved in football. Football season is right around the corner. My oldest plays varsity football. He has for this will be his 3rd year as a varsity player. And my younger one is entering 8th grade. So football's getting pretty serious for him. Um, so fall is a very full schedule. Fall is full. That's some kind of alliteration for you. My youngest, my daughter, she also does sports as well. And so we're going to be doing sports for all 3 of them. And so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. And also for this podcast, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. But I trust that God will open those doors, and this path will be, this is the path he needs me on. And if the podcasting, if I come back to you and I can find that time and I can give you things that will help you. I don't want to just ever throw stuff at you just to record. The whole point of me starting a podcast was not even in the plans when I thought I want to be a Christian life coach and podcast. That was never really what I thought was going to happen. But, with God, you never know. And so podcasting just kind of organically happened. I felt like there are things that need to be said. I felt like people needed to know these tidbits of wisdom that I learned through my certification program and watching my life coach and other life coaches. Dr. Edie Wadsworth is my life coach that I got certified through. She's a group coach. And then Whitney Kronberger is another life coach that I just admire. And both of them have helped me so much along the way. So shout outs to both Dr. Edie Wadsworth and Whitney Kronberger. Look both of them up. If you've never looked them up, you're looking for a group coaching program or one-on-one. Whitney does both. And Dr. Edie does group coaching. It's phenomenal. So I can't say enough about these women. But I've been able to, like I said, I've been able to put myself in a room with these women that have achieved the dreams that I was dreaming. And it was so inspirational to see what they're doing. Um, and then to see how God can work in such incredible ways. Like he leads you down one path and you're like, okay, good. I got this path. I'm on this path. I'm just going to keep going. And with God, he's like, well, I know you thought, y'all are funny little people on earth, that you're going to go down this path and it was just going to be, here you go. But that's not kind of how I have it working out for you. I need you to start on this path, but it's going to lead over to this other path. So that's kind of where we're at. And I'm just rolling with it. And I really do feel so good where I'm at. And I had amazing people reach out, like I said, and ask incredible questions. Um, and so because it was a process to go through, there was a part of me that thought, oh my gosh, I'm giving up on all of it. And it doesn't mean I'm giving up on all of it. It just means right now it's going to look a little differently. And so it's been wonderful. And it's been a great summer. And we start school in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, actually. That's hard to believe. I don't know about y'all. Wherever you're listening at, I think everybody starts at a different place. Making sure it is still recording my voice. It's been acting like my mic has been acting like it's not recording. So that's been fun. I have recorded full episodes with my mic not working. So anyway, let's get back to the episode though. Episode 62, Be a Valley Girl. Okay, my meaning behind this is not the Valley Girls of the 80s that talk a certain way. Oh my gosh, that's a really bad impersonation, but I remember me and my friends always trying to act silly like that when we were younger. Um, what this is a little more serious, and it's a good thing in my eyes to be a Valley Girl. So let me explain. So I love the Bible verse from Proverbs 27:17, and it says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." All right. So maybe you're like, okay, maybe I'm seeing where she's going with this. I don't know. Ironing, sharpening iron, and iron sharpening iron. So I love that verse because that is what friendships are about. That is when you have those people that are closest to you, your friends, um, and you know those true friends that sharpen you. And by sharpening you, sometimes they're going to ask you the hard questions. Sometimes they're going to say, "Hey, I don't know if that's really the best choice." And they come from a place of love, right? So we all need valley girls in our lives. Those girls, those women, we all need valley friends. If you're a guy out there and you're listening to it, you need this as well. You need valley friends as well. Valley boys, girls, whatever. Um, but especially I'm talking to the women that are listening, because as you get older and as your life changes and you go into a different season, as you become a mom, it your friendships can change, it can shift. And that's natural, because your first priority becomes your family. It's, you have God, you have your spouse, and then you have your children. And children, as we know, if those of you mamas out there, mamas of older kids, mamas of littles, mamas of kids who have flown the coop, and maybe now you have grandbabies, whatever, we know they require a lot of attention, and it can be alarming how much attention they require. I know for me, it was alarming. I was at 26 when I had Aiden. I was almost just about to turn 27. I hope my math is right. Somewhere around there. And I will tell you this, I still was in shock as how much attention they required. I didn't grow up having, I mean, I have a younger sister, but it wasn't like, I had a lot of bunch of younger siblings to take care of and really to help through all that process. It was really, I grew up with him. Um, and with that, I noticed the friendships started to change. I could My friends who didn't have kids, it just started. I mean, we were friends still, but I couldn't go do all the things with them, like I used to, right? And and then they were finding friends who could still go do all the things with them. So it was a natural thing that happened, but it didn't feel so natural to me. And I remember feeling very, very alone as a young new mom, because I had all these questions about being a mom. I was exhausted. I was also working full time as a young mom and trying to figure all this out. And then all of a sudden, my friendships were shifting and changing. And then I didn't have the free time because my husband at the time was a football coach and they worked 7 days a week. So, those of you, if you don't know much about the coaching world, it requires a lot of time. Um, and so be nice to your kids' coaches, because you have no idea how much time they put in. And I'm getting over some kind of like cough thing, so I've got my water handy. So sorry about that if you see me drinking water on here, if you're watching me on YouTube. But what I want to tell you is I found myself very alone and not really understanding, like, okay, is this just going to be, I'm just a wife now and a mom, which is a great thing. But at the time, I was like, okay, this part of my life that was so important to me, my friendships that I've, along the way tried to grow and nurture, it just seems like, okay, well, where'd they go? Like, what happened? And it was kind of shocking. Um, and and then I kind of find myself seeking friendships, just like, okay, like really people who were not probably the best friends. But I just knew that I wanted some friendships. And so I found myself in a time that was very confusing. And I think maybe a lot of young moms find themselves that way. So that's why I think it's great that there are things out there, like for moms to be able to get to know other young moms that have things in common. I was too afraid to reach out to those kind of groups. I thought, no, I've got this figured out. It was pride. And then that kept me feeling lonely. So that right there was, craving like that kind of friendship. Where did all my girlfriends go? Like that kind of thing. And the reason I want to talk about this is because first and foremost, like we need to not only like I've always told my own children when as a school counselor, when kids would come in and we'd have conflict resolution, we talk to each other about they were arguing with one of their friends, um, and being a friend. And I said, well, if you want a good friend, you've got to be a good friend. And that's not anything that I made up. I know a lot of you out there have heard that. But I think as adults, we tend to forget that if we want a good friend, we've got to be a good friend. Sometimes we find ourselves in a season of life that's very needy, that we need things a lot, that we notice that we're just kind of like trying to catch our breath on things like being a new mom or whatever. And maybe we take, and we're not giving as much either. And friendships tend to do that. They can ebb and flow. But I will also caution you if you find yourself, my friends aren't doing for me. If you find yourself in that mode of thought a lot, that might be part of the problem. That might be part of the reason of why you're not finding these girls that are going to walk through the valley with you. And what I mean by that, when I say be a valley girl, I mean be that friend that walks through the darkest valley with your friend. All right. Now, we're human. There's going to be times that if your friend is going through something pretty hard that you can't answer the phone every time, or you're not able to text back every time, or maybe you give some advice that it came out all wrong and they took it and whatever. We're human. Okay. And there's going to be moments like that. But I will tell you, and I think we also need a good reminder, especially in this day and age, in the world that we are in, all the things happening, the election year, all the craziness, now more than ever, we need to be a valley girl. We need to walk through the valley, those dark valleys with our friends, the best we absolutely can. We're not going to be a perfect friend. Like I said, there's going to be times you miss the phone call. There's going to be times you forget to call them back or text back. There's going to be times we're just not meant to be perfect, but you just try your best, as with everything. You're not going to be perfect. Let that go. They're not going to be perfect. Let that go. Now, on that, so be be the valley girl, be the girl walking through the valley with your friends to create the friendship, to show them that, for one, always point them back to God, always point them back to Christ, that he's the one that will give them the peace. He's the one that's going to get them um the answers that they need. And but you might be the one to have to point it. You might be the one walking through the valley with them because they don't know how to seek out Christ. They don't know what to do. And you might be that one person that tells them, this is how you do it. This is how you pray. This is how kind our God is. And he's been with you all along, even though you're not seeking him out. And if we are truly the whole, like, what would Jesus do? If we want to be like Jesus, he walks through the valley with people. He never ever loses step. Now, Jesus is perfect, but we try our best to be like him. We know we will fail, and we're not going to live in shame or guilt about that in those moments that we do, because that's where the enemy wants to keep you. But instead, we get back up and we keep trying. We keep trying to be that better friend. Now, I'm also going to caution you on this. Don't go into a friendship saying, I'm going to be there for them because I want them there for me 100%. If don't go into it seeing what you can get out of it, that right there has got to stop. Our society on every level, what can I get out of this? If I do this, what is this going to do for me? We got to stop that. We got to stop that. We need to, okay, I'm just going to do this because it's the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do. This is like, if I were walking through, you got to think, if my friend's walking through this dark valley, you put yourself in their shoes. They're walking through this dark valley. What kind of a friend would I need? I would want somebody there. I would want somebody to listen. I mean, these are the things that that you need to incorporate, that you got to think about in your heart, and you got to pray, God, make me the friend, make me the girl, make me the woman that is going to walk through the valley with my friend as she's going through this dark time, whether she's nursing a sick parent, trying to figure out, what to do when they have a wayward child, when they have a marriage falling apart, and they don't know where to turn. Those hard, heavy conversations that might scare you a little bit, they're not looking for you to say the right thing. And I'm telling you this from friendship point of view, from a life coach point of view too, and the counseling perspective. People just want someone to listen to them. And there's not going to be a perfect response, and I will tell you that sometimes we all, like, we're trying to say the right thing, and then we say the complete opposite of what we meant to say, or it comes out wrong. And if you've ever had that done to you, You just kind of get that grace. I will tell you some of the best advice I ever got um, wasn't in one of the darkest periods, the darkest times of my life. I had a miscarriage between Aiden and Brock. And my husband's grandmother reached out to me about it because she had gone through a very similar loss herself. Hers was a child that was older. But anyway, she reached out to me and said, now I'm going to tell you this. People are going to try to comfort you and they're not going to know what to say. And they're going to say really dumb things and they might hurt your feelings, but you need to understand they're really trying to comfort you and they don't know what to say. And she was exactly right. And I'm so glad she said that because it was almost like on cue. Not too long after that, I had a pretty close friend uh, reach out to me about it and yeah, just didn't say something that it did feel like daggers, but thank goodness she had told me that because I also knew this person was trying to come from a good place. They were just stumbling over their words. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is going back to why am I telling you all this is because if you've been there, you're like, I don't know what to say when people have something heavy or hard to say. I tend to stumble my own words and I word vomit and I say awful things and I don't mean to and it comes out wrong. So I just don't say anything. I just don't reach out because it's better. It is not better. And that's a lie of the enemy. For one, he doesn't want you to reach out and be the person that could help him to help your friend, her, him, her, whatever, right? And also your friend that's hurting. If your friend can stay hurting and feel isolated and not have people reach out, that's exactly what the enemy wants. He's going to sit there and tell you, who do you think you are to reach out to them? You've said stupid things before. You're going to say it again. Just stop. What if you didn't have to say anything? What if there was not a perfect thing to say? So don't feel like you have to find it. People during those times when they are walking through a dark, dark valley, they just need somebody to listen. They just need someone to say, you know what, I'm here for you. If you want to know what to say, if you're like, yeah, when they pause, I don't know what to say, you know what, I'm here for you. I just want you to know I don't know if you've never been what they're going through. Don't say, I know what you're going through. Because people say that out of nervousness, and then people are like, oh, you've been through this? No, I haven't. Okay, but what I want to tell you is, I can only imagine what you're going through. I know this is tough. I just want you to know I'm here for you. I'm praying for you, and you're not alone. Christ loves you. Jesus is here for you, and I'm here for you, and I'm going to try to be here for you the best I can. If there's anything I can do, can I take you out for coffee? Do you want to go out for a walk? Do you want me just to come sit with you? Just name it and I'll do it. That right there is magic to people's hearts. And I just want you to know that. And I think more of us need to reach out and be those valley people, the valley girl, the valley boy, to walk through those dark valleys with our friends because it's iron sharpens iron, guys. I mean, that's how He wants us to be there for each other. All right. Yes, he's like, hey, I'm here for you all the time. But it's not good to be alone. Y'all don't need to be going through these things. You need to have people that you can talk to, and you might be that person to show Jesus to them, right? You might be the person to be like, I just want to listen to what you have to say. I just want you to know I'm here for you. That right there, you'd be surprised how far that goes. So I felt compelled to say this even before, like I said, I took a break from the podcast for a bit. And I wanted to go over this because I feel like as I've grown into becoming like, a mom and learning all those things, I've learned how to navigate friendships. I've learned what real friendships are versus ones that aren't true friendships. Those people who are going to be there for you through thick and thin comes down usually to a very small number, and I'm okay with that. I can tell you just offhand, just a couple of people probably that really will walk through every dark valley with me. I mean, besides my husband and my family, but I'm talking about friends. And I'm talking about those are the friends that come back to you and like you're telling them like, oh, how your day is, like, oh, that y'all are catching up, right? You hadn't talked to each other in a couple weeks, maybe. Or you finally go out for coffee for the first time in like 2 months. And you're talking and You're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm good. Me and the husband are good. Me and the kids, this is what's happening, it's all good." And they're like, "Okay, how's it really? Are you really sure?" Like, because they can pick up, they know something's not quite right. Maybe you've told them something something in the past. Excuse me, whatever it may be. But what is important to know is that, um, that right then and there, those are the people that are going to ask the questions to really make sure, are you really okay? You know, I really want to know how you are. Tell me how it really is. That's great. The whole like, oh, we're good. This is good. All that's good. Come on, this is me you're talking to, you know? So that is the kind of people we need in our life to pull out of us that part that the enemy wants us to hang on to, the darkness that the enemy wants us to hang on to, and be like, I'm just going to keep all this in the dark. I just don't want people knowing what I'm going through, and I don't want to burden my friend with that. That's what the enemy wants. Your friends are going to be the ones say like, "Hey," and for you, if you're the one that's like, I know my friend's going through something, but every time I'm around her, she just seems like she's okay. I don't know what to say, so I just kind of, okay. Maybe if you feel in your heart, okay, you know what? I just want you to know, I hope you know I'm here for you and this is a safe place and you can talk to me about things and it's going to be okay. And it will be okay. You don't know what's going to come out of their mouth. They may come out with something you're like, oh, wow, that's going really, really deep. I didn't think it would go that deep. Be the valley girl, be the iron that sharpens iron, be that person. And they're not expecting you to say the perfect thing. They just need someone to listen. They need somebody to be able to get this darkness that they're holding, this hurt that's tearing them apart. They need to get it out. And we need to be those people that were okay in those conversations, like, this is pretty heavy. Maybe they're having marital problems. Maybe they're just have all sorts of questions, whatever it may be. But that's also okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, you don't need to have all the answers. The best thing you can do for your friends is pray and pray with them. And in those times where they're just hurting, and I've done that before with friends that are just on the phone, and they can hardly catch their breath. Like, can I just pray with you? You mind if I just pray over you? I've never had somebody go, no, don't. I've had them all say, you know what? Yeah. And somebody, like, you know what? That would be awesome. So we need to do that. And I am not the perfect friend. I'm going to put that disclaimer out there. There's been times I look back and I'm like, wow, I really could have been a lot better of a friend than I was. And I did not show up for that person. I was not the valley girl for that person that I needed to be. And if you have those moments in your life, if you're looking around, you're going, yeah, I've kind of failed at this. I say you're either winning or you're learning. So what can you learn from it? What could you possibly learn from that? So not to do it in the future, maybe to, if you need to make amends with that particular person, or if you realize you have an opportunity land in front of you where you can be that type of friend that walks through that dark valley with them, then do it. But I just feel like with all the things going on in the world, I mean, of course, the world's always been a little cuckoo. We all know that. But especially this year, things are very heightened. I feel like we need to make our light shine even brighter. And I do feel like with this podcast, even though I talk to you about a lot of life coaching stuff, I'm also feeling that I'm going to be urging and pushing you guys to shine that light brighter more than ever, because I feel like now is the time that we need to stand up and say, as Christians, you know what? Like, this, what is happening in this world, it is not okay. And we can also come from a place of love on that, be like, our hearts are breaking for all these people, the lost people that are out there. And not be afraid to put our faith out there. Not be afraid to say, you know what? Let me pray for you. You seem like you're having a hard day. And it may be that's not one of your best buddies. You never know. The worst they can say is no. But what I want to urge you guys is, we were all created in such a unique way, that God gave us such talents and he gave us such gifts, and then he gave us talents to make those gifts come out. So with that, he needs that light that's within us to shine and to shine bright, because we so often dismiss it. We so often tell it like, oh, what good could I possibly do? Oh, you could do an amazing thing because God put that light in you. He needs you to use your gifts. He needs you to use your talents. He needs us to shine bright, to shine his light upon others, and to help iron sharpen iron. And maybe it isn't always our best friends that we're helping walk through the valley. Maybe it's a coworker. It may be somebody that you met at church. But iron sharpens iron isn't just designated to just our best friends. It's for each other, right? And not only will you help them out, you're going to learn so much by walking through those dark valleys with them. And in those moments where you're not sure what to say, you can even just say, God, I have no idea what to say right now. This person's hurting. God, and you can even pray, and God will tell you right then and there. So, friends, I'm just telling you, this podcast is going to go in a direction where I'm really going to try to push that we go out there and we that our lights do shine brighter, and that we are there for those people, that we are that valley girl, that we are the valley boy walking through the valleys with our friends, walking through the valleys with the coworkers, the people at church, the person that you know is hurting, and maybe even walking, helping somebody through that dark valley that for a while just drove you crazy, that you never thought, in my life, I never thought I'd be having this conversation with this person, but they had nobody else to talk to. Maybe it's somebody you deemed unworthy of your time because they hurt you in the past. Who knows? You never know. But I just wanted to get on here and say that because this episode has been turning around in my mind all summer. And I feel like with recent events that happened with the Olympics and just kind of interface things, I'm like, I think we just kind of need to be there for each other even more and not be afraid to go into those dark depths with other people. And then to also not be afraid to let our light shine. So, friends, I hope you have had a great summer. I hope if you, those of you who still have a few weeks ahead of you, I'm super jealous. I hope you have a great summer. And um, I'll be hoping to talk to you again soon. I'm really wanting this podcast to continue. I just don't know how the schedule is going to go once everything kicks into gear. But I really want to keep putting this out there to help those of you out there that just kind of need some inspiration, maybe just need some tidbits of wisdom, whatever it may be. So thanks for tuning in. I'm honored you're listening. And until next time, friends.